Righto, Nick.
So this is, I guess, after you've washed your gear, like I've explained. The product I recommend the most is this Shoreworx oil. So what it has is polar bonding. So that means it'll stick to metal like a magnet. And you literally just need one drop in certain areas and it'll just creep in and do its job. So I've got 3 different reels here. The first one's just a generic kind of overhead star drag. So you've cleaned your gear. For this particular reel, I would be putting a drop of Shoreworx in the handle knob. So this is probably too much. You literally only need one drop, just give it a turn. The clutch lever, just put a drop in there. You see how it kind of just creeps in. The clicker, drop there. And then a lot of these reels will have what they call a cast control cap. I'll just undo that. A lot of people still don't really know what this cap does, or dial, but if I get that off. So that's your spool shaft. A lot of reels have a bearing in there, but just put a drop in there. Another thing to know is if this ever does come off your reel, if you don't know really where, how tight this should be, if you put it in free spool, there'll be that play in it. So just do it up enough.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of play there, but not much, and you should still, have a good free spool. If you do that up too tight,
It won't spin nice.
yeah. So you just want just the tiniest amount of play, and that's kind of where it should be. So don't touch it after that.
Okay, mate. So that's the sort of overhead star drag. Now
Yep.
you've got
I've got a little bait caster here. These reels are quite high maintenance. There's a few more parts in these, but
great for your sliders and that.
yeah, they're good little reels. I mean, there's a reason all the overseas bass fishermen and that love them. They cast really well, but a lot of them you can get the side cover off. There's either like a dial or a open close button here. So every now and then, take the spool out. It's quite important. This obviously needs a service, but I'd put a drop on that shaft. And what you might see here is the pinion gear. So when you press the thumb bar, that gear slides up.
Oh, yeah.
And then engages back down with the handle, but that sits in the middle of a bearing there, and it's quite common for that gear to get seized into the bearing. So I'd put a drop on the edge of that there and just give it a turn. But what happens is that gear gets stuck in the bearing, and then the thumb bar just stops working. So that's quite common. I'd do that, and then there's what they call the worm shaft. So that's for your level wind.
Yep.
Keep that oiled, like that. Chuck that back in, and then there's another cast control cap here, so take that off. There should be a bearing under there. So just put a drop like so. 9 times out of 10 when I'm servicing reels, it's bearings that need replacing.
That's what makes the noise, right?
Yeah, so it's just keeping the bearings in good condition. And this oil is going to definitely help that. So that's a bait caster. And the third one, a spin reel, but this is a Thunus, and it's a bait runner.
The mighty Thunus.
Yeah, so handle knob, like so. Line roller, so on all spin reels, a drop on your line roller. Most reels will have a bearing in there. Some have a bush, but you know, if that starts seizing up or the bearing fails, then it's going to be noisy whenever a fish is taking line. The bait runner switch or levers, so one either side here, like that, and then under your handle. So these are your drive gear bearings. There's one either side, one in there, and then
On the opposite side,
I
right?
probably can't take that off,
Yeah,
but yeah, one on that side, and then the last spot for that would be, well, this has got a bearing here, so you put a drop there, but also just on your shaft,
shaft, yeah.
and just, you know, just give that a spin. Never really put anything in the top of your reel where your drag is, because if you get water or oil in your drag stack, then it's going to affect your drag. Either become sticky or...
And so how often, is this every time we go out, or is this once?
I would say do it every time, but you know, like I said, Kiwis are rough and they just don't do it, so...
So at a minimum do it once a month,
Yeah,
if you're fishing regularly.
Yeah. yeah. But doing that's just gonna...
And you mentioned about the Corrosion X, where do you
Yep, so I use this, and I recommend it to anyone where they would use CRC, WD-40 or Inox. Get rid of it and use Corrosion X. It's like 1,000,000 times better. As a servicing point of view, I use it on anything that is seized and I'm struggling to get apart, or just to protect something. I mean, I'm just doing an electric reel here. And you can see all these screws are pretty bad.
covered in corrosion, aren't they?
So if I just put a spray on that, well, you can kind of just see
It
what it
breaks it
does.
off straight away, isn't it?
So I actually spray every single screw that I pull apart out of reels with Corrosion X before they go back in, you know. One, to protect them from that salt, and also I know when I come to service them a year later,
Easy.
they're going to come out.
So for the guys at home, where would they be spraying those?
So like I said, if you've cleaned your reel, you could put some on a rag.
Oh, just around the outside.
Yeah,
of the
just
thing.
externally, you know, like, actually this is a good spot in this handle joint, just like that. But anywhere where you're starting to see corrosion, yeah, just put that stuff
Oh,
on.
I've noticed it on a couple of my reels, just
Yep.
where the screws sit on the outside of the casing, right?
Yeah, so what it'll do, it'll stop rust and it'll kill rust in its tracks and protect it. So, yeah, I can't rate it high enough.
Mate, that's really handy. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that will be watching that will go, oh, I probably should take better care of my gear.
Yeah.
Hey, but for those that just can't be bothered, are just lazy, and they want you to do it, how do they get in touch with you?
So yeah, the company's called Shoreworx. I am on Auckland's North Shore in Rosedale, but you can look me up online. I've got a website, and yeah, everything's there.
Yep, sweet. So they can get in touch with you, and
I mean, if the North Shore's too far away,
yeah, if you're out of Auckland, they can send them up.
they can send them up. But also, if they're on the other side of the bridge, they can drop it to my house in Mount Eden as another option.